Five, four, three, two, one.
I'm from a place where the girls are always looking pretty. You might have heard of us, we call it Shy City. We build champions here who define gritty. We don't do excuses, we don't do pity. Rose is coming back stronger, that's a guarantee. Cutler's coming back too, he's beastly. Throwing it to Marshall, the title's ours easily. Blackhawks are winning titles, trophy looking massive. Don't forget about the Cubs, Sox, Crosstown Classic. With so much greatness, we gotta show bravado. You got your boys Ambro and Mike Mercado.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Chicago Beat. I am Mike Mercado, as always, with my best friend, secret producer, man. It is Friday, May 3rd, 2013, and what a crazy day it has been already. I mean, you got the rain, it's cold after 80 degrees earlier on this week, and I know, guys, everybody's a little bummed out after last night's Bulls game. The Bulls fall to the Brooklyn Nets 95-92. What really else could you say about this team? You know, last night I tweeted it to secret producer man and to, all the fans here of the Chicago Beat. It's easy. I could go off and rant about Derrick Rose not playing. That's very easy. And you hear a lot of people now talking the day after, and I said this right after the game, you have to commend the guys who have been playing in this series. I mean, you have Nate Robinson with a puke bucket right in front of him in the bench, throwing up in the middle of the game. Luol Deng couldn't even play, was sent home an hour before the game started, but has been battling injuries throughout the whole playoff series, throughout the whole season, almost the last 2 years. You have Joakim Noah battling plantar fasciitis, also has been sick earlier on this week with this flu. You have all these guys, Marco Bellinelli battling through injuries, and all you really could say is, what else can you ask from this team? What else can they do? They had their chance to win last night. Last night, the Bulls should have won that game. And we're going to get into all of it today here on the Chicago Beat. Don't forget, you can follow us everywhere in the universe. We're on Twitter at the Chicago Beat. You can find us on Facebook and like us at the Chicago Beat. And, of course, the beautiful DaChicagoBeat.yolasite.com for all your information about Chicago, whether it's sports, fashion, entertainment news, whatever it is, DaChicagoBeat.yolasite.com. And, of course, it's the playoff edition, so it's all going to be about the Bulls. But don't forget, tonight, it's Game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the Chicago Blackhawks as they take on the Minnesota Wild. That's going to be later on today. We're going to preview a little bit of that. We have that and a whole lot more here on the Chicago Beat.
Early morning in a motel room, sunshine trying to creep on through. Lost sleep, but I found a tune stuck inside my head. Cigarettes and tank of gas, headed off to nowhere fast. Gotta find a way to make this feeling last. 'Cause I believe that I was born with a song inside of me. Never question why, I just kept on chasing that melody. And as time goes by, it's funny how time can make you realize we're running out of beat. On a day that I die, I wanna say that I was a man who really lived and never compromised.
The Chicago Beat is delivered by In-Flight Express. For your quickest and cheapest way to get your delivery needs done fast and quick, visit InFlightExpress.com. So last night you had the Chicago Bulls falling to the Brooklyn Nets. I've been hearing the reaction all over Twitter at the Chicago Beat or on Facebook at the Chicago Beat about how disappointing of a loss it was. People going off on Derrick Rose, and you really can't. I mean, you can go off on him. I understand we're all frustrated at this point that he's not playing. You see David Lee comes back 9 days after a hip flexor tear. That's a different injury. It's a different scenario, different expectations. I get it. The best thing you really could do at this point is just commend the guys who are on the court and kind of put a story and a bowl behind it. I mean, here, really quickly. You have Jimmy Butler playing 48 minutes, has 17 points, goes 4 for 13, 1 for 3 on the three-point line. Carlos Boozer in 32 minutes. This is where the killer happens. 32 minutes, 14 points, 7 to 15, but was in foul trouble early in the game. So you couldn't get into any flow. So you want to give credit to Carlos Boozer, and then he goes right ahead and had the game where you need him the most. And it's typical Carlos Boozer. You try to root for him. You try to praise him for playing so hard, which he has. But when you really need him, he falls short. He always has. And it's not anything personal against him. It's just a fact. I mean, you needed more than 14 points from him in a 95-92 loss in a Game 6 at home. Joakim Noah, 43 points. It's looking like he's getting a lot better with that foot. Again, it could flare up at any time. It could flare up before Saturday's game, He has 14 points, goes 7 for 16, has 15 rebounds, so he has a double-double just like Carlos Boozer, who had 13 rebounds. Marco Bellinelli plays 46 minutes, drops 22 points, goes 18 for 21. His problem was he started forcing the issue at the end of the game. A lot of dumb turnovers. They couldn't get a basket when they needed it. You know what? And it's crazy. This Bulls team, when you're watching this game, all I'm saying is we need defensive stops, consecutive stops. You're hearing Stacey King say it. You're hearing Steve Kerr say it. You're hearing everybody watching this Bulls team against Brooklyn last night. Just get consistent stops, and that's what they did. You couldn't drop the shots, though. And that's what happens when you don't have an offensive playmaker. And if Nate Robinson isn't going off for you, which he ends up playing 41 minutes with the flu, has 18 points, goes 7 for 15, 3 for 5 from the three-point line. So he still has his energy. And he's another one, though, who, you can only complain so much about the good Nate and the bad Nate. You can, because you've seen he's giving you all that he has. Now, yeah, he may be playing for a contract, playing to try to play for another team, but nonetheless, he's been out there this whole time being a spark for this team. Taj Gibson, 17 minutes, 3 points, fouls out. It's another concern that you've had with Taj Gibson. And I think when the season ends, that's the conversation that we're going to have is, was he worth the money? And have this Bulls regime really evaluated talent in the right way? They've hit on a few guys, but I think it's an interesting thing that Taj Gibson has struggled a lot, and he hasn't been healthy. And in the waste of space, Rip Hamilton plays 3 minutes. Marcus Teague plays 4 minutes. Nazi Muhammad plays 2 minutes. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, you can't turn off the ball. Look at this. They turned over the ball 16 times. You can't do that. Now, when you're not playing Kirk Heinrich, when you're not playing Luol Deng, when your team is half injured, half sick, your MVP isn't playing, you can't turn over the ball 16 times against Brooklyn. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't fall the team 26 times. You can't. And the Bulls beat them on everything. I mean, the Nets only shot 66% from the free throw line, 35% from the three-pointer, 43% from the field. Bulls beat them in almost everything. And they couldn't get the big basket when they needed it. And I think that's what you saw during this whole game, is that there wasn't a time when you sat there and you thought that they were going to hit the big basket. And it's unfortunate because maybe they've already used up all their energy. Maybe this team is on empty already. They might have just finally hit that wall. And it's funny, it goes a long way from people saying this team could win without Derrick Rose. They can win some games. They can. They can win a series or two. And again, everybody said this. A lot of people said this game was going to go 7. I thought it would go 6. I thought they would win yesterday. I picked this game, this series in 6 before the playoffs started. It's going 7 now. And you didn't want to go to Brooklyn. And you should have won that game. You keep Brook Lopez to 17 points. You keep Darren Williams to 17 points. Joe Johnson goes off for 17. Gerald Wallace only has 15. But it's the little plays. 6 points to Chris Humphries. 10 points to Blatch in the end of the game, hitting some big down low post moves. CJ Watson hitting a wide open 3. He has 9 points. You should have won it. You should have won that game, and that's what it feels like. And unfortunately, it might be to the point where they think they don't. Maybe they think they can't win. And last night, I thought would be that typical Bulls game, that they would come back and that they would do something that they have done all season. Secret Producer Man is rushing me already, so we'll come back to it. I want to finish this thought about the Bulls and typically what they do. We got a lot to get into here on the Chicago Beat.
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
Looking for that fresh start to start off this summertime, guys? Visit BeOnAir.com. That's the Illinois Center for Broadcasting. If you're looking to spice things up in your life, you're looking for a career change, why not in broadcasting, television, or in radio? You're a big sports fan. If you love entertainment, if you love music, visit BeOnAir.com or dial 630 916-1700 and schedule a campus visit today. Guys, there's 2 beautiful campus locations. One on State Street right in downtown Chicago and one in the suburbs in Lombard. That's beonair.com, the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, where broadcasting careers begin. So before we hit the break, I was mentioning to you guys how last night had the feel where you heard all this bad news that they were just going to be limited, stretched when it came to players being able to play in minutes. That's a game the Bulls usually come out and win. It's the game the Bulls aren't supposed to win that they win. And that's why last night I was contemplating who's going to win this game. Who's going to be the team that turns it around and is this the team that's going to do it? Is this the team that's going to show up? Is Nate Robinson going to go out for another 30 points? Is Kirk Hinrich going to muscle through the game? Is Luol Deng going to, somehow miraculously get healed? And, once you start getting even closer to the game time, you start realizing that these 2 guys aren't playing and Nate just doesn't really have it. He's sick and he still gives you so much. And you're seeing Joakim is starting to get healthy, but is it too little too late? Brooklyn's missing the shots they're supposed to, but you're not dropping the shots you're supposed to. And that's what the difference between a Bulls team whenever they're on one of those games. You saw it against Miami. You saw it against the Knicks. You've seen it against Brooklyn in this series. The games are not supposed to win. They typically win. And yesterday was kind of a letdown in the sense that we're used to them winning those games, and they just weren't able to. And I think that's what scares me about this Bulls team. Is it on E? Is it finally on E? And you can't complain. People... At the end of this, people are going to complain about the Tom Thibodeau run his guys to the ground. Should Derrick Rose have played? Is this team good enough? All I know is a lot of different teams, a lot of different coaches would have given up. They wouldn't have made the playoffs. They wouldn't have gone 7 games against a 4 seed. And they wouldn't be at the point where people think they're a legitimate threat if they get back a guy who hasn't played in 365 days from a torn ACL. And you got to commend the Chicago Bulls. As much as we like to in sports talk radio, here at the Chicago Beat, we like to complain, we like to banter. You can't about this team anymore. What else can you do? You're not gonna beg Derrick Rose to come back. You have already. He's not coming back. You don't have the offensive firepower. You're not healthy. But they give effort and they give heart, and that's why they always got a puncher's chance. So this Saturday, 7 o'clock at the Barclays Arena, at Barclays Center, it should be interesting in Brooklyn. I think the Bulls are going to win because it's a game they're not supposed to. They should not win on Saturday. But you heard it here on the Chicago Beat. I think come Sunday morning, we're going to be celebrating a Bulls second-round date with the Miami Heat. We got the Blackhawks Game 2 preview coming up here on the Chicago Beat. The Chicago Beat can be found everywhere in the universe, guys. So if you can't get enough of me, Secret Producer Man, or the Chicago Beat, follow us on Twitter at the Chicago Beat. You can like us on Facebook at the Chicago Beat, or of course visit thechicagobeat.yolasite.com, the best website for everything Chicago, music, entertainment, sports, whatever it is. We have it with the Chicago theme and youthful, knowledgeable opinions. That's thechicagobeat.yolasite.com. And in the city of Chicago, in the Madhouse on Madison, the favorite, the number 1 seed Chicago Blackhawks, try to go up 2-0 over the Minnesota Wild. Big win. Big overtime win a few days ago. A crazy goal at the end of the game. And what I find amazing about this whole Blackhawks talk, about this great city of Chicago when it comes to its favorite, its beloved hockey team and the Chief, is people thought this was going to be easy. People actually thought this was going to be just a run straight to the championship. And I thought that was crazy. Because when has it ever been like that for a hockey team? That they're just going to fly through the playoffs. Every game is going to be a gritty game, especially against teams that have played you hard in the regular season anyway. Now, I think the Blackhawks are going to win in 5 games. So I think they're going to drop a game somewhere, probably in Minnesota. But a 5-game series win is not easy. It's not going to, it's going to be physical because it has to be. That's the only way a lot of teams can beat this Chicago Blackhawks team is by making it physical. And, a 2-1 game after an overtime goal, you would think favors a team like a St. Louis who's up 2-0 over the Kings, or, a team that's physical against the Blackhawks. But right now you're just hoping that they're able to keep it together. Corey Crawford gave up a soft goal in the first 3 minutes of the first game. but it was solid the rest of the way through. And I can't even think of what his Backstrom, is that his name? That guy comes out of nowhere. Is battling MS. Their starting goalie is out with back spasms, and all of a sudden their backup goalie comes up and shoots keeps the Blackhawks to 1 goal and then 1 overtime goal. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. So it should be exciting. I think the Blackhawks are going to come up big tonight. Ray Emery is not going to play. Bolin is not going to play. Then again, at this point in the season, does it really matter? Bolin really hasn't given you that much this season, and you're really only going to throw out 1 goalie at this point. So the Blackhawks are healthy. Now you hope that Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews can pick it up. Now they've all been handling the puck pretty well when it came to game 1 later on in the game. But you're going to hope that they could put more, and you're going to hope that they're able to match the physicality, or at least if Minnesota even ratchets it up some more, because they didn't play as physical as I thought they were going to play. When you play a team like the Chicago Blackhawks, you would think you would play more physical. You think you would take it to that. Minnesota hasn't done it as much. So if you try getting a track meet with the Blackhawks right now in Minnesota, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. So I say look out for a Jonathan Toews. I mean, today Jonathan Toews is going to score. I think look for Andrew Shaw to score. And I think you're going to look for Marian Hossa to have a big night as well. So that's my prediction. I think the Blackhawks win tonight 3-1 in the United Center, 8:30 on Comcast Sportsnet tonight, guys. I hope everybody has a beautiful weekend, guys. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the playoff game this Saturday at 7 o'clock. Bulls-Nets, Game 7, do or die for both teams. And tonight, Game 2 at the United Center, 8:30. Blackhawks Wild as the Blackhawks try to go up 2-0 over Minnesota. And if you guys were interested, both the White Sox win last night, the Cubs lost last night. Just a little baseball for all my baseball fans out there. Don't worry, your time of the season is coming up. For Sticker Producer Man, I'm Mike Mercado. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to the Chicago Beat. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a beautiful weekend. Later, guys.